please. It is 6:06. Roll call.
Mr. Armstrong.
Here.
Mr. Benacci.
Here.
Mrs. Powers.
Here.
Mr. Spangler.
Here.
Mrs. Wright.
Okay, please stand for the pledge of allegiance. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mrs. Powers. It's certainly my privilege to introduce from Energy Education, Mr. Jim Siemens. And Energy Education is a company that provides some potential energy savings and some pretty sizable dollars for school districts. And we've met with Jim on several occasions, actually. They've done an analysis of our school district, and they want to do a public presentation today to take a deeper look at energy education. Someone's going to get that? So, Jim?
Thank you. Yeah, I'm going to ask if you all would, it's a PowerPoint, so I apologize that you got to swing around there. And I think everyone has gotten one of the packets. Right? We're not going to go through that page by page, I promise. But if you do have any questions, feel free. Any question is okay. If I don't have the answers tonight, I'll gladly get you the answers. What you might want to do is hold the questions to the end, because some of them may be answered throughout the presentation. But basically, this presentation is to talk about a proposal to reduce consumption, utility consumption in Stow Munroe schools by 20–30%. And keep that in mind, because that's what our whole program is based on, is reduce consumption. This is just a summary page. And what it's saying is already Stow Munroe Falls School District is engaging in a lot of ways to reduce operating costs. And when it comes to utility costs, just so you all know, I was telling some of you earlier, your cost per square footage is $1.22, which is very, very good for the area. We've got clients, all of our clients, except one, is above that cost. So that is very good. Compliments to Jason and his team and the school district in general. But what we offer to come in here and through our program, which we've been doing for 26 years, reduce your consumption by 20–30% with those bullet points. No upfront costs, no need to purchase any new equipment or budget new funds, no capital outlay, no impact on the environment of teaching, and all costs of the program will be funded through the savings. A little bit about Energy Education. We've implemented our program in over 20,000 buildings in K–12 school districts and college campuses. 90% of our business is K–12. We've been doing it over 26 years. What we've basically done, we've identified over 1,200 sources of overuse, misuse, whatever you want to call it, places where we evaluate and come in and help the school district work within those areas through our program. Our program is made up of a lot of components, but the two basics are walkthrough audits done by your energy specialists here, and we train them, and then a comprehensive communication program to engage everyone in the district. This is not a one-person program, but everyone in the district gets involved. Our program is incremental to anything else you've done. We've done some House Bill 264 projects, I believe, so it's incremental to that. We set a baseline, first thing we do coming in, and judge it against the baseline. We also, our program is a little bit different from others. You keep score with an independent measurement tool. We don't keep the score. Summary of the benefits that we see for the program here if we were a partner. Financially, again, 20–30% savings in utilities, which means you free up dollars that the school district can spend on something else other than a utility bill. Environmentally, this is a very good thing also, because you have a 20–30% reduction in greenhouse gas emissions. And that's big, that's huge nowadays. Engineering, our world-class team of engineers, we have over 40 consultants with over 500 years of experience in energy conservation. They are working in your facility through your energy specialists. Public relations, we have a full team of public relations that can work with your public relations people, or if the school district doesn't have it, we can put templates together, stories together, things of that nature that we've been doing. We get about 300 to 400 positive stories a year. So we work with the press. They're very good to work with. We see four main ways to reduce utility costs. One, negotiate lower rates. We're probably doing that. Everyone is doing that. Secondly, employing alternative fuels. Again, remember what we do. We reduce consumption, so we don't care where you get it from. We're on the other side of it and not the supply side. Improving your physical infrastructure and then reducing consumption. And again, those bullet points, that's where we come in reducing consumption through our program. This is a, I don't know if any of you have heard of Dr. Wayne Turner, but he's kind of the doctor of energy management. He has an energy management handbook out. Based upon his research, he has found that when you do negotiate better pricing, you can gain 5 to 7%. When you buy more efficient equipment, you can gain 12 to 14%, but when you change consumption practices, that's where you can gain 25 to 30%. And that's the bar that we fall under there. Again, 26 years experience, over 1,200 clients. We work in 48 states. We specialize in organizational behavioral change. This is a map of all those green dots are current or previous clients. Right now we have 21 clients in Ohio. And it's my job to garner more clients, so that's why I'm here tonight, as well as other places. But we work in every state, every type of climate, what you can imagine. Everyone's different. Florida, it's humidity. California, irrigation is a big cost. Up here in the Great Lakes area, it's usually gas usage and electricity. This is going to give you, in a nutshell, what we do. Our process is called the Transformational Energy Management Process. It's based upon 4 main components. The first one is assessment and planning. We get started right away. The day we sign a contract, we do a welcome call 2 days later. And then our engineers start visiting your facility, become more intimately aware of your facility, and we develop a plan for each facility, each building. So we assess each building, we develop a plan specific to that building, where we can save energy and what things we can look at. So assessment and planning, and that's a continual basis also. That assessment goes on over the year after year after year. Coordination and communication, big key. You have to communicate to every behavioral change. It's got to be positive communication. We use every tool that you have available to communicate this program. We work with people within their own environment. So we'll use newsletters, we'll use one-on-ones, we'll use meetings. Whatever is necessary, we will utilize that as a communication tool and coordinate between everybody. Leadership and focus. This obviously starts at the top. That's why we're talking to the board, and we talked to Dr. Jones and his staff, but it trickles on down. It does take everybody. One of the key opponents of the program is a local energy education specialist. They are hired internally. In this case, we project it as a part-time person, 20 hours a week approximately. They spend 15 to 20% of their time inputting bills into that software. The rest of their time they're doing audits in the buildings. They're in the buildings at 6 in the morning, at 7 at night, weekends, holidays, Thanksgivings, Christmases. They're here when no one else is here to make sure things are on or off as they should be. We do all our training on site. Our 40 consultants come in. First couple of years, it's almost a weekly basis. They will see one of our consultants. We also have 3 national training conferences that the energy specialist comes to, and we have training for them there also. They hear speakers, they do roundtables, they talk to peers from the areas also. Our experts, again, 20,000 facilities, 40 plus experts. I put in the part-time because it's about 10 to 15 audits per week, and not 20 to 25 as I think may have been stated elsewhere. But that's still a lot of audits. One thing to keep in mind, we do not affect that environment of teaching. We look for savings at 5 times during the day, basically. When the buildings are transitioning opening, after school when they're transitioning closed, in the evening hours when they're either being used or not used, weekends and during shutdown. There's very little savings, and we don't affect the environment during the teaching time. The last component, the measurement verification, it's a tool called Energy Cap. Energy Cap is the leading energy accounting software out there today. It's from a company, Good Steward Software in State College. This tool allows you to track your consumption and your bills. You establish a baseline with this tool, but what this tool allows for is to adjust that baseline so you're looking at very similar type of situations. The example I give is, say 2 years ago you joined our program in January 2010 was your baseline month for January. Tough January, 31-day billing cycle, a lot of gas usage, a lot of heating days. All of a sudden, January 2012 comes around, very mild January, maybe a 28-day billing cycle. Usage is very low. The program looks great. Well, that's not what we want the program to do. The software will adjust, or what's called normalize, the baseline month to make it look more like the current month, weather-wise, heating and cooling days, things of that nature. So you're really looking at apples to apples as opposed to, oh yeah, we look good because it was warm, or we look good because it was colder this summer. That's not what we want. And that's what the software does for you. We have every client invest in this software for two reasons. Number one, we want our clients to keep the score. We feel there's a lot more credibility to it that way. Secondly, by using this one software, our engineers can become very, very comfortable and very good at this software. So if everyone used a different software, we'd be running crazy across the nation with different softwares. When you put all this together, this is kind of what it looks like. Starting off with energy policy guidelines by the board, we require that within the first 60 days. The customized energy conservation for each building, that's where we come on site and start doing the assessments. And then that circle you see is when the person is hired, continuous building audits, the education communication partners, our experts coming in and working with them. Typically those visits are 2 hours to a full day, depending on what the need is, whether it's data need or whether it's actual audit needs. Measuring results, and then the whole cycle continues. And it just continues that way. Another way to look at this program is that in 4 years, you will have a do-it-yourself energy program with a trained energy expert. And that's another way to look at it. And this is a true 4-year payback program also because of the guarantee. Results, green is green. You're doing good things for the environment, but you also save money, which allows you to preserve positions, fund new equipment, put it where you want. What a lot of schools do is they do not change their utility budget. They leave it as is for the first 3 years, and whatever's not used, they use as unencumbered funds. So that they can utilize it for whether it's salaries, teachers. One of our school districts is doing their turf on their field through the savings. Two last things that we do with our program, actually 3, this is 2 of the 3. One, we guarantee it in the contract. And what do I mean by guarantee? We don't guarantee the savings, we project the savings, but we guarantee your investment. Your investment includes your program fees, the energy specialist salary, the energy cap software fees. You purchase that over 3 years, and then there's a licensing fee every year, and travel expenses for the energy specialist to the national training conferences. Conferences are free, but we have school districts pick up the travel. Those fees, whatever those 4 total up to, we guarantee that we will save you that much in a performance year, a 12-month time period. If we do not, we will write you a check to make up the difference. And we stand by that guarantee because we just go to the local school district and check. The other thing, we do what's called fast track, and we started this about 2 or 3 years ago. We do fast track. The first 4 months, you pay no fees at all. The only fees you would have, or investment you would have, would be the energy specialist salary. We want to get the program off and running, get it going, and everything you save stay within the district. So there's no cost from the standpoint of program fees or software. There may be travel costs depending upon the timing when that meeting falls and when you start the program. Has anybody heard of Energy Star? You see the little placards on I apologize, my back too long. On the different appliances. We've been a partner with Energy Star for years. For the past 3 years, we've been recognized as the top organizational behavior-based energy conservation program and sustained excellence award. And it gives you some statistics there as to the number of buildings. In Ohio, 38% of the school districts that have Energy Star certifications are clients of ours. 39% of the buildings in K through 12s in Ohio are buildings that we've worked in. Now, we're not taking total credit for that. A lot of school districts, like Hudson, they started off with a very good, very tight program. We all have a very tight program for $1.22 square foot, but we do work towards that as a building. The EPA and Energy Star allows us to present those awards to schools, also at school board meetings, so we make presentations. The last little nugget, beyond the contract, after the 48 months of shared savings or where you pay us fees, we do not go away. As long as you maintain the program, that's keeping the energy specialists hired and inputting the data, we will be there for you in whatever aspect you need. If the energy specialist leaves, retires, our HR person will come in and help you hire another one at no additional cost. If you have a need for our engineers to come in for whatever reason, pick up the phone, they'll schedule a visit, they'll come in at no additional cost. We have clients that have been with us over 17 years. In Ohio, the longest client, Xenia, has been with us almost 9 years now. Yeah, that's something that we started doing, we just continue to do. These are the clients in Ohio. The ones on the left, those are what we call out of contract. They're beyond the 4-year shared savings, and they've chosen to maintain the program, so we're still working with them in whatever ways they need. The ones on the right are within the 4-year savings. Fairfield just announced they've saved $1.5 million in 3 years. Wayne was $1 million in 24 months. Everyone's in a different situation. So feel free to contact any of those if you know anybody there. We ask people to call our clients. That's our best sales approach right there. They're much better than I am. So feel free to call any of those. If you need numbers, I can get you numbers for people with those school districts. And that is it. Any questions?
Yeah.
Our way.
All right.
If you don't mind, I'll come up and turn this.
Yeah, we're down. Sit down here. And, you know, I went through your program, and one thing just now, one thing just now I saw was, this is a standard management program. I'm gonna tell you right up front, I'm a little skeptical because I'm looking at the savings, and I'm looking at our cost, okay? And I want to make sure, that we talked a little bit beforehand. Yeah, but the one thing that, you know, and I think that managers should be doing all along, because you're doing basic management, okay? Plan, coordinate, motivate, implement, control. When you went through your plan, you coordinate, your leadership focus, that's your implementation, and then your verification, that's your control. So this is just a basic management program that all managers should be doing. And I look at principals, administrators, and all them as managers. Even teachers are managers over students in there. Okay, now, our total energy, measurable energy, was, and this is the sheet that you were given. I guess this is the only information that you received.
Yes.
Okay, and what bothers me was there was no measurables on there. There was no KWH, there was no MCF, there was no M gallons, or anything on that. And in order to track savings, just like you said, you need all that. You need the measurables, you need the heat degree days, you need the cooling days, you need all that.
And that's probably the biggest question that comes up. How do we put a proposal together with limited information?
Right, and when I looked at, I took, and I tell you how you put it together. You took $960,000, and you said you're going to get 23% in the first year of savings, and then you're going to get 10% compound each out there. Now, is that at economics? So that 10% year over year, is there economics in there?
That I don't know. I'm not
Because what you're getting to is, you're saying by year, in the year, I would hope there'd be economics there, otherwise the number becomes really strange, because I'm looking at $960,000 for our costs, and then in year 10, we're saying we're going to save $522,000 a year. So if there isn't economics in there, then
the way it's measured in year 10 would be the same way it's measured in year 1. Year 10, January, is going to be going against the baseline that was set up.
is it going to go against dollars, or is it going to
consumption? It's always consumption.
Okay, it's
always consumption.
So
we measure it with that.
So
and then it's time to
that's what
blend it.
makes me a little, you know, because I'm saying, you know, in this year 10, I'm going to take it down to where my utility costs are only $440,000 a year, if it's at constant economics, from $960,000. That's pretty. I mean, you know, that's like using nothing.
Well, again, you're taking it from, comparing it from baseline to consumption. Now, your cost by then may have gone.
That's what I'm saying. Is that 10% year over year? Because what you're doing is taking the 23%, okay, savings, and then saying, okay, I'm going to get that plus another 10% of that savings, plus another 10% going out, and that's where the $522,000 comes in.
And again, I don't know if that's how we project it, but it usually works out about 20.
Yeah, that's why these numbers really don't make sense coming in.
Well, I would, from an accounting standpoint, I can put you in touch with the person that knows that, because he does the numbers. Our president, John Bernard, from a standpoint of, can we make that happen? Yes. I've seen it in other school
You see,
districts,
at
I've seen it in
$1.22
Lorraine City.
a square foot, we would go down to under, around 60 cents a square foot.
Again, it depends on what your cost is for consumption.
But-
I'm not gonna tell you you're gonna go 60 cents a
I'm
square
not-
foot.
I'm looking at constant economics.
Well-
That's why I'm asking, is there economics?
If it's a constant, yes, if you've got a guaranteed price of whatever you're paying for now, 10 years from now, then yes, that should be the case.
Because, I mean, that's how you get a payback on it. I mean, we're looking at a $500,000 investment.
Our fees typically, a fixed fee, range between 40 and
111,000.
45%.
Yeah, but now, after we talked, we said we would set the benchmark. So
Basically,
what we're seeing here in this brochure may not be the dollar savings, it may not be what we finally agree on.
That is why we don't guarantee you savings. We
Right, so
guarantee you
these savings
investment.
could be overstated.
Typically, what I've always seen and what we've done is understate and overproduce. In the page I refer you to, there's a section there about other clients, it's about halfway through.
Yeah.
Where Westerville, what we projected, they had double that amount of savings in their first 3 years.
Yeah.
That's typically what
And I
happens.
could see
Can it
that.
happen the other way? Yes.
I could see that, given that if I did not already, I mean, I'm only at $1.22 now. You said most of your clients are at $1.40, $1.50,
Right.
and there's a lot of fat. I know we've worked hard to trim a lot of that fat down.
And you've done a very good job of it.
Yeah, we've made agreements,
Yes, our rates. The most important thing to keep in mind, and I think that we try to do this all the time, is save money in this district, is we already are part of a consortium. We already are getting competitive rates. We already have savings. What we don't have that energy education brings to the table is lowering the consumption, making sure those lights are turned off when we're not here or we're not in the room using them. Those kind of
That's
things.
where I'm having trouble with this, because in the private industry, okay, what we do is, and we talked about this, we got, every day, I talk to my managers about how much electricity they use, we talk to them about the gas, I talk to them, you know, I think that part of it, we should be already doing that.
We should be.
Ron, if I may, that's a big part of that energy specialist job. Right now, you've got Jason doing maintenance and
That's right,
everything.
he's doing everything.
And that's typical every school district. We're here, the example I used was one given to me by the superintendent. Every so often, a new reading or math program comes along, and the school district purchases it, and it does exactly what it's supposed to do for the first 2 or 3 years. Scores are going up like they're supposed to. In the third year, all of a sudden, the scores plateau, and then maybe they don't do anything. I had a superintendent actually went back and investigated why. Well, the program came in with 8 steps. By year 3, they were doing 2, 4, 6, and 8, because no one was overseeing and vigilant just for that program. That's what you have
And
here.
that's,
You have
and that's,
energy
but that's to
specialists.
in my mind, that's a management problem. That is not.
There's.
But anyway, let's back up.
Sure.
Given all that, there is a guarantee.
Yes. Yes.
Once we agree on the numbers, then we go by those particular, once we look at the KWH with, I believe Russ down with the KWH and all that, I asked for, so we can start looking at that and everything. Then we go into the guarantee, it may not be 500,000, it may be something.
You can actually figure your guarantee almost now, because your guarantee, remember, is your fees, your salary, whatever you set it at, your software, and your travel.
So it's
So
going
you
to be
can look at,
111.
yeah,
So-
whatever
so
that
your
is,
guarantee
we're gonna
is
save at least that much.
Right
in 12 months.
now, about 12%. Right. Figure 111,000, another 20, 30,000, we're at 960 million. So
That's
maybe
the
about
minimum
14,
we're gonna save
15%.
before right to dip, or
About
right to
14 to
check.
15%.
Our burden.
But that's in dollars, and I want to see, I'd rather go by the measurable with KWH.
And a lot of people do like to see that in the consumption. The way we
Because
can do
dollars
this with
get
proposals.
money.
Yeah, the way we do this with proposals is just being in it 26 years. If we were in this 3 or 4 years, we'd be in there. And in a lot of these larger clients, where they've got 50, 60, 70 buildings, we do make a second visit to get that other information, because there's so many moving parts that we need to know about. So,
Because there's 2 components, so it's like you talked about up here, you know, every cost has, you have your price variance, you have your usage variance. What we have to concentrate is on the usage variance.
Yes.
And concentrate on the usage variance, then we need to get those measurables in front of us and agree on
Yeah.
that baseline.
And that's the first step you take,
Right?
baseline, yes.
Yeah.
But to looking at your guarantee, you can look at what your fees, salary, software, and travel, and estimate what those are. And the way we do that, whenever we don't perform in the year, we come back to the school district and say, show us what you spent. We want to go exactly to the penny of what you spent. It's not an estimated, it's not a projection. It's what did you pay us in fees for 12 months, what did you pay the salary for 12 months, what did you pay in travel costs, and what did you pay software costs. Because some people make 5 software payments in a year, or 2 instead of 1 in a year. So we look at the actual expenses, and that's our guarantee for that 12-month time. So you're going to be, at the very least, you're going to be 0 and getting someone trained to be an energy specialist in 4 years.
Right.
That's the least you'll attain from the program.
And it all comes up front, and I've worked with other consultants on what we agree to up front.
Yes, yes, the baseline is agreed to.
The only other thing
If
is
the baseline can't be
energy,
agreed to, we can't move on.
who inputs all the data into the
Software,
Is
the
that-
energy specialists,
the
with
energy
help of
specialists.
our consultants, we assign what's called a data lead and an implementation lead to every account, every client. Those are the 2 key people. The data lead is responsible for all the data and make sure the energy specialist knows how to put it in the software, run the reports, because there's a lot of reports that they'll be making to the board, reports that they'll be making to Dr. Jones. So the data, our data lead, helps with that. The implementation lead is more the on-site walking the audits, so here, listening for the noises, talking to food service about what procedures do they do, those types of things. So now other consultants will be in and out of here, but you have those 2 assigned to you as a client. Those 2 are with you through the whole thing.
Okay, excellent. Thank you so much for
You're
your
welcome.
presentation. I
Thank you.
appreciate it.
And I don't know how to turn it off. So it's still on. I don't think that'll catch fire.
Okay, Ms. Baldwin, Treasurer's Report.
Okay, item A, the appropriation resolution. I wish to recommend the Board of Education approve the appropriation resolution as presented in exhibit number 1. So moved.
It's moved by Mrs. Wright and seconded by Mr. Spangler. Roll call.
Mr. Benacci?
Aye.
Mrs. Powers?
Aye.
Mr. Spangler?
Aye.
Mrs. Wright? Aye. Mr. Armstrong?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Superintendent's recommendations.
Thanks, Ms. Powers. I have a few employment recommendations, including 1 certified resignation, certified substitute, elementary and secondary summer school positions, number of supplementals, extended time for 2012-13 school year, and non-certified supplemental that were required to ask for approval. So those are items A through F. The agenda, and take those together, which is
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mrs. Powers and seconded by Mr. Spangler. Roll call.
Mrs. Powers?
Aye.
Mr. Spangler?
Aye.
Mrs. Wright? Aye. Mr. Armstrong?
Aye.
Mr. Benacci?
Aye. Item G is school fees for 2012-13 school year. We need to ask the board to approve the fees for the upcoming school year. Those all remain the same dollar figures from last year, so I do wish to recommend that the Board of Education approve school fees for the 2012-13 school year. So moved.
Second.
It's moved by Mr. Spangler and seconded by Mr. Armstrong. Roll call.
And I would just like to add that any student who is eligible for free of the federal lunch program does not pay this fee.
I think
Okay,
it said
that's by law.
75%.
No, it says reduced.
Instructional fees by law, we cannot charge
No,
them.
no, good, that's good.
So
Thank
the
you.
only reduction is for a student eligible for the reduced lunch program.
That was a
Okay?
75%.
Yes, that's correct. Okay, Mr. Spangler.
Aye.
Mrs. Wright. Aye. Mr. Armstrong.
Aye.
Mr. Benacci.
Aye.
Mrs. Powers.
Aye.
Item H is the asphalt bid for this summer. And as the board knows, we've been doing, I think, a really good job of maintaining our lots by sealing and striping, looking at some major recommendations from our architects. And bid from Falmouth Asphalt won out and came in much lower than we had anticipated, so we're pretty pleased about that. So I do wish to recommend the Board of Education award the bid for the all schools paving improvements, the Southbridge asphalt paving. enter into a contract as presented in Exhibit 3.
Second. Moved by Mrs. Wright, seconded by Mrs. Powers. Roll call.
I have a discussion on this one.
Second.
Okay, the D zone, we have something to say about how D zones are going to be handled?
The D zones were an alternate bid, a part of the paving project, but it is to not use general fund or permanent improvement money to pay for that. And in place of that, at the June 28th meeting, the end of the month, we are going to ask the board's approval to use Coca-Cola money that we received prior for that purchase. Okay?
So basically, coming out of general fund, our improvement funds would be approximately $140,000.
Correct.
Less than $20,000.
That's correct. With the contingency, we have to allow for a contingency in case it gets started and there's some drainage problem.
Make sure that's exactly what we're doing.
That is exactly it. And at the end of the month meeting, we will bring for your approval the request to approve spending the summer fund 018 prior Coca-Cola money that we received.
018 fund. Okay.
Correct.
All right, thank you.
Okay, roll call.
Mrs. Wright. Aye. Mr. Armstrong.
Aye.
Mr. Bonacci.
Aye.
Mrs. Powers.
Aye.
Mr. Spangler.
Item I is levy resolution. I wish to recommend the Board of Education approve levy resolution as presented in Exhibit 4, which of course is the renewal.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Wright, seconded by Mr. Spangler. Is there any discussion?
Yes.
Just that it's not a new tax.
Yes. I understand it's not a new tax. My concern with this levy resolution is that it's 10 years. It takes away taxpayer control over the levies and over the renewals. Previously, we've always had 5 years. I was requesting a 2-year renewal, and I was also requesting that we look at the renewal amount, and since we were very conservative in the last 5-year forecast, and we're going to have $17 million here. That's why I'm going to vote the way that I'm going to vote.
Thank you.
Certainly. The reason I'm approving the treasurer's recommendation is due to variables from state funding. We don't know where that's going, and we can't let that go by the wayside. If you don't have it, you can't catch up. The catch up is worse. If you don't get it now, and you have to come back to the voters every 2 years or every however many years you are thinking of, there's also costs for putting it on the ballot. I don't think that in the near future, Columbus is going to give us a boatload of money to remedy all of our troubles. So I don't want to get to that trouble point, and that's why we said the recommendation from the treasurer is, that's why I'm going to vote my way.
Comment on running a levy. It's the school board does not pay for the advertising, the brochures, the signboards, the TV ads, or whatever we're doing. That comes from private donations, earnings by committee. So it's difficult to come up with anywhere from $3,000 to $7,000 every time we run a levy. Although people think the schools pay for it, they do, in fact do not. So if we can stretch this thing to a 10 and not have to do it every 5 or every 2 or every 3, it does shore up a lot of work.
Yeah, and I'd like to make one comment on that, and both of those, and that was why I was asking that we reduce it to 2 years and put it on with the next renewal that is due in 2016. So that would be, and look at it at that point in time, because yes, we do not know what the state's going to do. We're in a state of flux right now with taxes from the oil and gas wells. We're going to, with the taxes that are going to be put onto all the new casinos and casinos and that. So what I'm saying is, let's back off for a minute, let's take a breather. Okay, we have another renewal coming up in 2 years. Let's combine it with that, if we need to go more higher.
So what we're doing is throwing a
So we're sitting
2-year
on
crapshoot on that. We lose that one, then we've lost the other.
And you're putting more
Well, if we-
millage on
it's-
the
I feel
renewal.
And there's no
that
guarantee
my
on oil
personal
and gas.
is
Or the casinos.
if we're transparent and we're good custodians,
I think we are.
then
I think
we
we
should
are,
have,
right.
then we should have no problem passing it.
I think there's no trouble passing the 10-year. We're transparent.
To all of your points, in 2 years, we are going to be asking for another renewal. What we are faced with through over a 5-year period trying to pass new money in this community was voter fatigue. We are really asking for more voter fatigue. If we were, let's say, keeping this levy for just 2 years and then going to add the other one to it, we will confuse the voters, because now we would be asking for 11 mills, 11, 12, depending on the value. If it decreases more, it could be 13 or 14 mills, which again is, as you mentioned, expensive for us to be able to get the message out. What we have to do our due diligence on is keep the renewals, which is keeping us operating. If we look at the 5 years, and I would like to say it's conservative, Mr. Armstrong, but I'd have to argue with you, it's more right on than conservative. In my world, that is not as conservative as I would like to be. But given that, we still, in 5 years, are looking at, first of all, in 3 years, we're in a spending deficit. In 5 years, we're looking at needing new money. So if we were to wait 2 years, pass the renewal or advertise for it, let's say it's 12, 13, 14 mills, then turn around and ask for a new levy, this community is going to throw their hands up. They are not going to understand what we're doing over here. And this is a no-brainer. It is no new tax. It is money that the district has been receiving for many years now. And I think that at some point where we combine them, maybe when we go for the renewal for 4.6, we add a few more mills on, and instead of a renewal, let that go away and ask for 7 mills then.
There is a fallacy in what you said. In how to read the 5-year forecast, it tells you right up front, 5-year forecasts when you get to 3 and 4 years out are not that. Okay, right now we have $1.8 million adding back into our 5-year forecast for each year, which amounts to over $6 million for healthcare costs. Okay? Now, we are not incurring those costs, nor have we incurred those costs in the last couple of years. So, I mean, to me, that's $6 million. At the end of 2014, this is the board's discussion. At the end of 2014, okay, at the end of 2014, before the vote is the board's discussion.
Keep it a discussion. Not
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
At the end of 2014, how much money are we setting on? We are setting on $17 million. We have a $52 million operating budget. That's over a third of our operating budget that we'll be setting on.
And if it
That's
stops,
why I'm going to vote the way I'm going
and
to
if
vote.
it stops, then what?
What, the $17 million?
Factors in between now and then that you're not putting in.
The $17 million is going to stop? Already guaranteed out to 2 years.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Call the question.
Mr. Clancy, did you have something you want to add?
You know, I'm hearing you, Russ, and I've been in business as you have. And if I have a budget, it's a conservative budget, which I think Catherine has said. All right, so we're at $17 million in our bank account 2 years from now. Well, I think that's fantastic. And why would I want to risk with uncertainty what the state's going to do? We talk about the casino revenue. It's the same thing you did in Ohio Lottery. We got Ohio Lottery money, influx, and all the state did was pull whatever we had in there and pull it out. That's why we are no better off. So that's what happened in Ohio with the Ohio Lottery. They're doing the same thing. You think if the casinos put money in the schools, the state's going to come back and pull that money right back out? Absolutely.
The $17
They
million
did
is
it. But we don't know what healthcare is going to do 2 years from now. We don't know what the state's going to do. And I'm not willing to take that risk to say I want a reduction in the levy, like you stated last board.
Well, we could put it on for 2 years.
I
You
agree
also
with
said
Ms.
you wanted a
Bonacci.
reduction.
I absolutely will not take that risk myself.
I will not take that risk.
Okay, so we have, it was moved by Mrs. Wright and seconded by Mr. Spangler. Can we have roll call?
Mr. Armstrong.
No.
Mr. Bonacci.
Aye.
Mrs. Powers.
Aye.
Mr. Spangler.
Aye.
Mrs. Wright.
Item J is a gift. I wish to recommend that the Board of Education accept the following gift. Highland PTA donated 15 projection screens and library shelving to Highland Elementary.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by.
Question.
Yes.
Was this cash or was this equipment donation?
Equipment and cash to purchase the shelving.
So we're set on that. We're okay to accept.
Very neat.
Is that it?
That's right there.
Mr. Armstrong, did you second that? Yes. Thank you. It was moved by Mrs. Powers and seconded by Mr. Armstrong. Can we have roll call, please?
Mr. Bonacci.
Aye.
Mrs. Powers.
Aye.
Mr. Spangler.
Aye.
Mrs. Wright.
Aye.
Mr. Armstrong.
Aye.
Superintendent's report?
Yes, Mrs. Scher contacted me. She was unable to be here today, so we will likely have to reschedule the high school report. I do have another presentation. And I received from the Ohio Department of Education a letter in late May that I wanted to share with everyone. And it reads, Dear Superintendent Jones, recently one of your district school bus drivers participated in the Ohio School Bus Rodeo Safety Event. This is a competitive event that allows school bus drivers to demonstrate their skills and knowledge and to compare their prowess with their peers in other districts and areas of the state. Jan Carlton represented your district in a regional rodeo and then in the state finals event on May 19th. She demonstrated outstanding skills and placed 12th among the best drivers in the state. It has been our observation and experience that when any driver participates in this event, their district and their students benefit through the improvement in skills and professionalism that this event fosters. Drivers practice and study hard for these events, and as a result, invariably increase their skill level. Please extend our congratulations to Mrs. Carlton for demonstrating outstanding skills in our safety competition. So I wanted to call Jan up here and thank her and present her with this award.
How many?
600 districts times X number of buses equal.
Okay, that's excellent. Is there any community discussion? Hi. Please state your name.
Yeah, sure. You may.
Can you give us your name and address, please?
My name is Kimberly Vaughn. I'm a graduate of Stow High School before it was Stow Munroe Falls High School. This is my daughter, Mary, who is no longer in your school district. I'm sorry to say. She won't be graduating from the same high school I will be, or I did, sorry. Since the beginning of this previous school year, my daughter was being physically and verbally bullied. The entire family was even targeted by this child's verbal bullying. I gave my daughter tools as far as ignoring the child, telling teachers, others in the staff, because I had complete faith in the zero tolerance bully policy that is in place here in our school district. Months went by, nothing was done. My daughter continued to be bullied in this way, and it escalated. After months of waiting for something to happen, I stepped in. I approached this child outside of the school with 2 staff members present. I asked this child to leave my child alone. I asked her if she had a problem with my child. She said no. I told her that I was going to tell my child the same thing. Leave my child alone. Let's ignore each other. Since you don't seem to have a problem with my daughter, then this should be easy to do. Since then, I've been hung out to dry by the staff at Woodland. They've called me and my daughter liars about this entire situation. They have lied to me in regards of the discipline that was supposedly inflicted on this child for what she did to my child. It never happened. They tried to say that my daughter had a learning disability and that's why she was so nervous and having trouble adjusting in class. How would you be able to learn if you were being bullied in class as a 4th grader? Someone stepping on your toes, someone coming by your desk and elbowing you in the face as they come by with a chuckle and a hum. When my daughter was told to tell an educator about this, the educator replied, "I'm sorry, honey, I can't help you with that." Is that the truth? Yet now they say that none of the staff members at Woodland were made aware of this situation. They had lied about me to the point where they called a code yellow at my presence at the school for simply dropping off my daughter's forgotten lunch. I was never out of sorts, never out of the demeanor that I have in front of you now. I did not scream outside the school. I did not beat on the windows. I simply rang the doorbell to give them my daughter's lunch. Do you think that if they had so much in them against me to file a code yellow and call a code yellow and cause all this concern over the school, that I would have done something enough to get charges for it? Don't you think? Well, I didn't. Because when I presented everything to the police, they did not charge me. The principal went as far as to support the bully and her father in pressing a restraining order against me. She testified about the day like she was present, however she was not. I had her testimony thrown out. She denied ever having a meeting with my daughter and I to tell her the extent of the bullying. Madalena, did that meeting between me and you and the principal at Woodland happen?
Yes.
And we told her the extent of the bullying, right? She denies ever having this meeting.
I'm going to have to let you know that you have approximately half a minute left for your 3-minute limit.
I also had a conversation with the superintendent. I would have been much better off talking to the brick pole over there or sweeping it under your table.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to stop you.
As a result, moms have complained to the Stow Yes softball organization and had my daughter removed. I've been threatened at my place of work. I've been threatened by the bully's father on 4 separate occasions. Feel free to compare my daughter's spotless discipline record to that of the bully. Do you actually think I would encourage her to keep quiet about the bullying? Funny how staff members at the school can spew out whatever they want about me, as they've done for months now. But it's deemed inappropriate for me to ask a child to leave my child alone.
I'm sorry, your 3 minutes is up.
My daughter is no longer in
Ma'am.
danger of anything the school system does
Ma'am, you
or
are up.
does not
The 3
do.
minutes are up. Please sit
No
down.
more bullies. No more lies. No more watching everything turned around on us for nothing we have done. And now you're going to give my daughter.
Is there any other discussion?
By all means.
Mrs. Powers, I'm confused about the community's role in the community reading. These are not citizen comments on this agenda, it says community discussion. On the 7 o'clock meetings, the citations comments are usually posted. those I understand. But when I was commenting at the last community meeting, under community discussion, you talked to me also. So I'm just really confused.
I believe all comments are timed to a 3-minute limit, are they not?
No, not on citizen, not on community meetings.
It has been practiced.
That way.
Well, I've been to a whole lot, and I was going to them a long time before you got on here, so I know. And, no, I was here before you were here. And the community meetings were community discussion. And the 7 o'clock meetings were, citizen comments that were. But anyway, I wanted to say I do appreciate the discussion that's taking place before the votes. And it really, I think, raises up the level of the board to have that discussion. And although, everybody's not agreeing, I think it is very valuable. So I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And I'd like it to be kept, as civil as you've all kept it. So that's all.
Thank you, Mr. Patterson. Is there any other discussion?
Here's the story. Okay, ever since I moved into 4th grade, it's been worse than ever. I didn't like it very much. I wanted to go back to 3rd grade because it was so much fun back then. Because there was a lot of, Mrs. Armstrong was really nice to me. And Mrs. Marconi.
I'm sorry, sweetheart, you cannot use names. You can say my teacher, but you cannot say someone by name.
My 4th grade teacher, she is kind of iffy. Well, okay, so here one day